And Durham is one of my favorite universities. And at this conference, should we try to get that on? Or
yes, we have to do that because.
Yeah, we try again. That's better. Yeah, for a research project that we at our embassy has fully supported it and also followed the kind of making of the project. And I'm very keen to see where this takes us and goes further, because this combination of green transition and the pursuit of just society based on the rule of law is a concept that deserves recognition, and especially also a concept that Norway would very much like to be behind. I must, there's so much noises here, but that's going away. Yeah. I must admit, however, that when I first saw my name on the panel, and this special panel, I have to chuckle a little bit. While digital twins and AI in energy transition are slightly outside my usual academic field, and since we are many here outside the English sphere, I have to state that that's an English understatement. I'm way beyond, but I quickly realized that this would be an exciting opportunity for learning and contribution. And after valuable exchanges with Norwegian experts, particularly from SINTEF, the Foundation for Industrial and Technical Research, and NTNU, Norwegian University of Science and Technology, both based in Trondheim, the technology capital of Norway, I feel better equipped to offer what will be a perspective from maybe more a policy of research perspective. And also, I'm here kind of representing all of you who doesn't know too much about this. So I can take you in with some kind of confidence that I'm asking all the questions that you don't dare to ask. And I will stick to what I have been asked to say something about, namely digital twins and artificial intelligence. I would love to take part in what has been discussed so far today around just transition, and also really working on a global view on taking into account all that. I should probably say that that's a perspective that we from Norway would like to really have when we take part in different parts of the world. Not only taking a northern perspective, but really being part of the global society that needs to work together in order to make this happen. So if we go to the next slides, let's start with a widely accepted definition. And I use my colleagues at SINTEF in Trondheim to word it. A digital twin is defined as a virtual representation of a physical asset enabled through data and simulators for real-time prediction, optimization, monitoring, controlling, and improved decision-making. And this can be said in different ways, but the main point is that you have something that is built in order to kind of do something that you would have done in real life if it was possible, but you do it in this model, and you use a combination of what is real-time data, the real same thing, and then you can move on from there, and that's where it gets interesting. So when combined with artificial intelligence, these digital replicas become even more powerful, enabling predictive analysis, optimization, and enhanced decision-making capabilities. And a digital twin may be something that can really show what is going on. You can also see developments in a digital twin, but where it gets really interested, and this is, of course, as you will know, you have to have the data, you have to have the possibility to read out what you can get from the model. But if it works, you can also take really steps into seeing what if we did this, and then you can follow on to see it. And of course, from an amateur perspective, I would give you much more possibilities than is probably possible in this model, but they are developing, so they can really be strong at the moment. And I think something that is very important here is also not only to see what can happen, but also to have an heuristic way of looking into it. You see things that you didn't know was a problem, and you get even further to understand problems that you didn't know was a problem and didn't have a solution, and you can then take it from there. So the possibilities are really what's in here. And in the context of the green transition, digital twins and artificial intelligence are increasingly being used to model and forecast outcomes in renewable energy systems, sustainable infrastructure, and carbon management. And some of these models will also prove invaluable in identifying challenges and simulating various solutions. And the goal for these tools to play a greater role in ensuring a just transition, including the legal domain, where they can contribute to more equitable and sustainable policy making and regulation. I think it is important right now to say that the legal perspective is kind of very interesting here, because there seems to be, and I've asked so many around me now, so I can nearly say what I'm saying now, it's not so much into these models. And in order to get it in there, you need to kind of be part of a greater community of digital twins, and also being able to kind of challenge yourself to be able to produce data, necessary data, to read out data, and to interpret really what can you use it for and what can you not use it for. For digital twins and artificial intelligence offer great potential, but they also have an important or many important limitations. One major challenge is their need for high quality real-time data. If the data is incomplete or inaccurate, or is not about what you really want it to be about, it can result in poor predictions, making it harder to make good decisions. Additionally, artificial intelligence models are often very complex and hard to understand, which creates concerns about transparency and responsibility. And this is really where it gets interesting, because if you're going to use it, one thing is to use it for researchers, but I will come with some examples later on where you're going to use it on a population. And if they're going to trust in what you're saying, then it needs to be really the real stuff in the whole model. Additionally, it's also crucial to include, and this is also something that needs to be in this model, and then sometimes it is there, that's what I'm going to show a little bit about, to monitor ethical considerations throughout the process alongside other factors. Despite these challenges, the potential for digital twins and artificial intelligence to facilitate a more efficient and just green transition is undeniable. And the interesting thing that I saw with your project is that you're really going to try to do it. And I'm more and more, you think you are in the line where you're going to try to do it, not necessarily having the really clue, this is the way we'll do it. So I would like to share with you 2 Norwegian projects that have successfully used digital twins and artificial intelligence to support the green transition. And it's many doing that. So that's not a clue. But the 2 I'm going to try to take out is also trying to build into the models considerations of the importance of a fair and just shift. And of course, there are many kind of dimensions that could have been taken in, but these are just for your considerations. Both projects that I've been working with has SINTEF as their core, and I should probably just as a footnote tell you that I was in Trondheim last week, and I was struggling with what am I going to say. And and this is kind of where you're given something. I was sitting there talking with the people at SINTEF, really high quality guys, and it turned out one of them is the expert on artificial intelligence and digital twins on energy transition. So we had a little talk afterwards, and he has kind of helped me to find some of this. Both projects have SINTEF as their core, mostly as a leading player, and SINTEF and NTNU. SINTEF is one of the larger independent research institutes in Northern Europe. There is someone in Germany, and there are some other places larger, but they're really, really big. And they're working very much on energy. In these projects focus on achieving a just transition, which is about balancing environmental goals with social fairness and economic equality. And this balancing is the whole thing. You cannot only take something that kind of shows you where it goes, and if you put something in, you will have a different outcome. It's also about putting in the real tool for how do you want to balance? What kind of value do you give to the different parts? And also after you read it out, what you do then. And also when it comes to making law in here, it could of course be interesting to take a model and see, this is the problems coming out. Can we solve them by making rules or making laws? But it's also interesting to do it the other way around. If we make this law being into this system, what will then be the outcome? Will it in fact help? I had, back in my career, I was responsible for legal stuff. And I remember one interesting talk that one of my colleagues had about a special law that was given in Norway, which turned out was supposed to save 200 lives a year. It ended out with saving none. And this is also about how do you really go in to see, is it really necessary? Is it good? And so on. The first project, and then we go to the next slides, is what is called the Green Shift Project. And this project is focused on advancing the green transition in the North Sea region, but fostering collaboration among research institutions, industry, and governments. And the project concentrates on 3 key areas: the offshore wind, carbon capture and utilization and storage of carbon, and also green maritime shipping. And they have done a lot in their program, but SINTEF employs in this project digital twins to monitor and optimize energy production in real time. And through digital twins, SINTEF ensures not only the efficiency of these projects, but also their social and economic viability, among them with broader just transition goals. And this principle of just transition is crucial. The green transition affects communities, industries, and individuals differently. And a labor-centric approach, for example, highlights the importance of reskilling workers displaced from high-carbon industries like coal. In contrast, other regions prioritize broader social justice issues, ensuring that marginalized communities, and there are some of them also in the north, are not disproportionately burdened by the cost of green policies. The next slides will take us to maneuver. I see that there are really many interesting words coming up in this area. So this is how you write maneuver, if you're going to do it the good way. This project focuses on creating energy system models. How do you distribute energy and how do you really make a system work? And I'm coming back to that. This is to support Europe's transition to net zero emissions and is a part of the Clean Energy Transition Partnership. And its primary objective is to develop consistent research-based models that provide clear pathways for both European and national energy systems to meet climate targets. And of course, one thing is to work on the national and European integration and the system itself. But a critical aspect of maneuver is to addressing energy justice by ensuring that no group is left behind during the green transition. This aligns with Europe's focus on a just transition, where the social impacts of the energy shift are minimized. But the whole point is that they're using digital twins in order to also look into the just transition part. There is also something more, but I don't go too much into that. And then I would like to take you into something that can be seen as really this is a luxury problem, what I'm coming with now. But it is interesting for the dynamics in how do you use digital twins and what can you do when you have the knowledge. Because in this one, you will see Norway up there and the UK, and we are very close to Blif, so it shouldn't be that hard to really understand where this power line comes in. This is kind of bridging Norway and the United Kingdom with electricity. There is a lot of gas coming in from the North Sea and from Norway to the UK, but this is electricity. There is also all the lines going down to the continent, but this was the one I wanted to look into. Norway is the country in Europe with the highest proportion of electricity produced from hydropower. Norway doesn't use any of its own gas or oil in Norway. There is enough energy there already, so that's not the case. So everything out in the sea goes other places. It accounts for more than 90% of the country's total electricity generation. And there are, of course, also other countries in Europe that has some higher: Iceland, Albania, Sweden and Austria. Sweden is also kind of what I know will call the possibility of Europe's green battery. Green energy sources like wind and solar are perishables, meaning that the electricity must be used as it is generated. You cannot kind of take it and then use it for later. You have to use it when you produce it. In addition, these types of energy are highly weather dependent. This creates a need for a significantly different infrastructure. And this is where I've learned a lot about grids. The grid is so important in the green transition. And you have to have this grid that one can transmit electricity from where it is produced at any given moment to where it is needed. And currently we face substantial challenges in expanding this power grid, both in the UK and across Europe. But to balance supply and demand, we need energy that can be stored and used to stabilize the power system. This is where the idea of Norway and partially Sweden as Norway's battery comes into play. By adjusting the hydropower, the energy grid of the Northern Europe can be balanced. And that's where you can take in stop producing and start producing so that you have something in the grid system. There's a lot of things to be said about the uncertainty in this, but where I would like to take you is that in a digital twin, SINTEF, this company that I'm talking, this large institute, has shown that if you are building 5 additional cables, like the one you see here, not only to UK, but also to Europe, that will create an optimal system where wind and solar energy can be maximized, leading to a very favorable long-term development for green electricity and boosting the effect of transferring the system in this part of Europe into green energy. And SINTEF's analysis also shows that the future price development of electricity in Norway will be very favorable for Norwegian customers in the long run. However, the path to this outcome is challenging. It requires accepting uncertainty about the end goal and likely much higher electricity prices along the way before reaping the benefits. And this we have seen also in Norway up to now, that the discussion on higher prices on energy is something that is very, well, it's very hard to stand here and say that this is hard for Norwegians. It's probably not, but it's really getting resistance in order to do this. We have the knowledge from these models that we will solve the problem. You will get better prices, but you have to go through a series of much higher prices in order to come down again. That is a problem also. Even though you have the knowledge, you have to really work on how to make this possible for the population and also for the public and the opinion. This is what we need to do. So I see that you stand, so I'm going to stop by now, but just saying that I do not say this to get sympathy for Norwegians. Don't do that. They are generally privileged, but to show that the complication, the complexity of the idea of just transition also needs to take into account the necessity of doing something that is not good in order to get where you really get. Thank you.